BobbyFi here. We're going to be going over through this 10-game MLB slate on Wednesday. As usual, tournaments are a little bit smaller. That's happened this time of year. We'll probably get a couple of big nights where they have a million tournaments before the end of the year, probably Friday and Tuesday. Oh, wait, no, Tuesday will be the start of the playoffs. So actually, we're sort of running out of time here on this MLB season. And last night ended in a very frustrating way for not just myself and my Dodgers, but for some of my really good lineups, and I think for some of other people's too. The hitting into a triple play to end the slate with Shohei on deck when you have 2 on and nobody out with Rojas at the plate, like just a little bit frustrating if you're if you had any action left in that game, which I certainly did. So anyway. Did well. I finished 15th in the 250, but did really poorly in the immaculate hitting the 111. So ready to make a little bit of a better run at it tonight. I will be coming back. Sheets won't be back until tomorrow. So for what it's worth, just thought I'd throw that out there. I think tomorrow. I'm not even 100% sure, but everything's going well with the health stuff. Just needs another day, and we should have him back tomorrow. So I wanted to let you guys know that. With that said, when you get in, please hit the like, subscribe, all that stuff, and I'll go through this slate game by game here. There is some weather issues that I wanted to touch on before we get into it. Let me just grab my little weather page. Looks like Cincinnati, that's not even on this slate, Cincinnati, Cleveland. Milwaukee, Pittsburgh also not on this slate. So really it's the Mets in Atlanta, which looks fairly bad. So that's one you're going to have to make some decisions on. And obviously we'll be live at 6 Eastern and we can go over that stuff. But that looks a little bit scary, just for what it's worth. So, I wanted to throw that out there. Anyway, we're going to go game by game here, see if we can find something we like that's a little bit different and go from there. All right. Eflin and Stroman. It's hard to have too much interest in these pitchers. Both keep the ball on the ground, which is good, I guess, but it's ugly hitting weather in Yankee Stadium, and it's also got I guess there's a little bit of rain risk there, but probably not too bad. I don't know. It feels like I could make a case for all like 4 prongs of this, but I probably end up doing nothing. That was yesterday's core tag on Judge, not today's. Obviously, it came through because he hit a home run. The rest of my Yankees did not comply. Anyway, this is one I could see as being a 4-pronger, but 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing in from center, only 66 degrees in New York. Not some of the hitting weather we're used to seeing in Yankee Stadium. Obviously, it's still Yankee Stadium, still a great hitter's park. That's why the total is so low. They've actually got a little higher rate here. It's actually 8 in Vegas. Saberson has it at 8.7. But probably going to end up probably on the outside looking in for me, but just wanted to touch on it briefly. I don't know. I'm gonna have to reconsider that one. Those are 2 teams at low ownership I like to get over the field on, and don't know if I can tonight, but I might try. Gausman against the ghost of the Red Sox, and Fitz against Toronto. So I'm surprised Toronto's run total isn't higher. I feel like Toronto is a team I could definitely deal with tonight, and I do like Gausman for what it's worth, but I think there's always a range of outcomes with him. He does have like the 6 expected strikeouts. But I don't know. Personally, I am on the Toronto stack side, and you're really not getting that much ownership on it. I know it's a big slate, but they haven't been great. But you've got Fitz in the Boston bullpen sort of the end of the year. And this Fitz is nothing special, nothing I'm worried about stacking against. And I think this is an interesting stack that's going to be overlooked a little bit today. And I like Toronto for what it's worth. So they're one of the teams I'm considering, along with Gausman at pitcher. A reminder, this is a first look, and I literally haven't looked. I had another thing at appointment at 8, so I had to jump right into this afterwards. So this is genuinely my first look. We'll be live at 6 with some more clear thoughts. Look, obviously, if Sale plays, if this game goes, Sale is a legitimately great option. He's been just tremendous, and you can see he's got a 6.7 expected strikeouts tonight. And then you get Peterson against Atlanta, which one I think is an interesting contrarian play, but I probably would have some interest in Atlanta. It's, again, this rain though, it looks pretty bad, and it probably ends up a game that I cross off. But as of right now, I would say that Sale and potentially some of Atlanta, probably not Peterson, but we've seen him come out of the blue with some good games in the past. Moving over to Miami and Minnesota, we've got Woods, Richardson, and Cabrera. I think these are both legitimately solid options for cheap pitchers. Cabrera, again, another high range of outcomes guy, but does have the strikeout upside. Woods Richardson, little safer, but without the strikeout upside. So they're both going to go on my to be considered list. Cabrera, if I played one lineup tonight, I don't think he would make it, and I may end up just playing one lineup. But I do think that he has the upside, and there's enough strikeouts in that lineup to certainly justify him at 6,200. So maybe I would. I have to reconsider that one. He's got the more upside than Woods Richardson, so I would probably. But again, the matchup is so much better for Woods Richardson. Both these guys look good to me, probably a little bit better than the field has in that. At the same time, whether you're playing Cabrera or not, and these are yesterday's tags, I do think. I'm sorry, not in the same lineup as Cabrera, but I think you're going to want to have some exposure to Minnesota tonight. I think this is like we have a terrible bullpen behind him in Miami. They got through it yesterday. I think this is a spot where you could see, hey, we were all on Minnesota yesterday. Why didn't we just wait one more day? I could see them having an explosive outing. I mean, they do have a 5 implied run total. That's kind of shockingly high. It's interesting, and it's interesting that you'd want to play a pitcher on the other side. It's just Cabrera's got the high strikeout upside. He's also gets absolutely massacred a good portion of the time, including his last time out. The Dodgers beat the hell out of him, but the 2 starts before that, he put up 30. So it's a wide range of outcomes guy. What's up to Pojen in chat? Pojen, sorry, excuse me. And we're going to jump over to the LA Angels and White Sox in 1 second. And boy, that was one thing I did right last night. I did have the I had both Koknevich and I had the White Sox pitcher yesterday. It worked out well in those lineups. That was one of the few things that I did well outside of the 250. All right, so we have Davis Martin and Jose Suarez here. So how many pitches do we think Suarez is going to throw? If we really think he's going to throw 92 pitches, I think he has to be in consideration. There is just plenty of upside against this White Sox team, as we saw yesterday. Both these guys have reasonable strikeout rates. It really does feel like it's going to be an interesting pitching decision because you've got so many guys down in the 6K range that are all seem very, very viable to take shots on. At the same time, taking bats against them is probably a reasonable route as well. So in terms of that, like I think that at low ownership where we had a lot of chalk, you have super cheap stacks. So I'm going to put the Angels and White Sox both on my list. These are guys who, if they were in any other matchup, whoever they'd be facing would have been the chalk. But we're just so used to seeing the Angels and White Sox, put up complete no runs. It's got a 7.5 total, and you've got pitchers who really haven't given us anything to be too inspired about. Suarez pitched well his last outing. Davis Martin, I don't know. The ceiling never feels like it's there for me, really. But this is the kind of slate where I think you could definitely play him because there's, between Woods Richardson, Cabrera, Suarez, and Martin, and those are just the ones we covered so far, all very legitimate options. And then at the same time, the low-owned stacks on either side of this game, I'm totally on board with taking some shots there. Moving over to the Colorado game, St. Louis and Colorado. We have Fedde and Gomber, and this is going to be one of those situations where I think you're going to get the extreme chalk here. Fedde has been maybe a little better this year than people give him credit for. Not a guy who not like amazing, but just hasn't been roughed up. Doesn't have the high strikeout upside. I'm not suggesting to use Fedde. I'm just talking that he's actually been a pretty competent real life pitcher against real teams, and the Rockies have not exactly been a real team this year. It is 81 degrees with 5-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to left center in Colorado, at least expected to right now. You have a 10.5 total that stands out so far above the rest of them. I just think this is where the ownership's going to go. But the weird part is I don't think anyone wants to play Colorado. So right there, I'm going to say I'll side with Colorado. You guys know my rules on these things. If you're going to play St. Louis, try to play 4 or less. It just feels like the wrong thing to 5-man stack the team that is so far and away the most popular on the slate. All right, let's move over. And for what it's worth, I do think Colorado, I've got a number of stacks I like, but Colorado is definitely in there for me. I also want to just throw out that we know Gomber has he got crushed last time against Arizona. That's totally forgivable. He's actually been pretty solid since the All-Star break. He'll have the occasional meltdown game, but he knows how to pitch at Coors. He always pitched better at Coors than he does on the road. Just throwing it out there. I know it's a great matchup for St. Louis, but I did want to give Gomber just a little bit of like, okay, maybe this is a spot you can talk yourself into him giving up 3 runs over 6, something like that. That's certainly not something that's going to win a slate for St. Louis. Gallen and Mason Black. So we're doing a bullpen game again for the. It is a bullpen game, right? No, Mason Black. Oh no, I'm sorry. Black has the leash to go 85 anyway. So Black in Arizona. This is going to be the other, I think, chalk hitting spot. Gallen against San Francisco. As we saw last night, it's hard with San Francisco, but I mean, look, Gallen is clearly one of the better options. He's going to project well. The strikeouts are going to look good. But San Francisco, when they play these interdivision games, they sometimes can get to you. And you see what happened last night. They just were teeing off on Fott and at 0 ownership. And I don't think you should play San Francisco against them tonight. Against Gallen. But I do think that it is a viable route if you wanted to go that direct. I mean, it's a viable lottery route. Like if you're playing it in the 150, I just don't think I'd be able to single entry or 3 max or a large buy-in get to that. I'm actually surprised at how low the ownership is on Arizona, and it's probably because of the pricing, but I'm put Arizona on my list of so far 5 stacks to consider tonight. And I think that they're a completely legitimate stack here against Mason Black. One thing about San Francisco is they will turn to their bullpen and pitch 1 inning at a time. They like to play these interdivision games pretty competitively, even when the season seems lost and over, which it is. And Mason Black was really good the last time out against KC. I actually played him a little bit at 5,500. Now he's a little too high, but I think this is an interesting game in general. And I am personally on the side of Gallen in Arizona, but I think there's a lot of other routes you can go on this slate. That is just one of my favorites. Texas in Oakland, you've got Bradford and Basso. And as Sheets always likes to point out, he loves Oakland against lefties. I think Bradford has a real ceiling here. Bradford is the other guy I'd be considering. Probably wouldn't make the cash game build for me. I think I'd probably be looking something like Gallen, Gaussman along those lines. And then you've got, Basso against Texas, no interest there. I'm just going to see what they have the strikeout rate at 5.3 for Bradford. Not as high as I was expecting, actually. And then you're seeing quite a bit of Texas here. And it's just partly because the pricing. So I have my note on Texas as Texas mini. Because it worked out well yesterday. That's not really why, but I did have I didn't do everything right. But in the 250, I had Jonah Heim and Nate Lowe. They were value saving options. They're just so cheap all the way through the lineup. Even Simeon, we were paying $6K for last year. This is a really cheap stack that I am completely okay with. But I probably would rather not make it a 5-man. It's okay to do a 5-man. I just think there's other higher upside offenses. And especially considering the fact they're playing in 60-degree weather in Oakland, probably better spots to go to. But look, if you wanted to get a little 3-man with Jonah Heim, one of the better values at catcher, throw in Simeon, and then maybe get Nate Lowe or Josh Smith. Foscue, if you're going to make a 5-man, should be 2,100 at first base. So they're just super cheap, allow you to do whatever you want with the rest of your builds. All right, moving on to the Dodgers, Padres and Dodgers. Cease and Flaherty, you have 2 very good pitchers against 2 very tough offenses to pitch against. I don't think I'm going to have any interest in these pitchers. I do think that the upside for these guys, maybe I should consider them a little bit more. I think I'm probably going to end up without them. And we can always play Ohtani as a one-off. We can always, mix and match different pieces here. I just don't think I want to fully stack. The only thing I would say is that if this was a smaller slate, we've seen Cease have those just where he just can't get anything right. The Dodgers are not a team that you're going to want to do that to. So yeah, large field, maybe you do get to some Dodgers. I sort of have to follow the rule all the time. Get to some Dodgers when they're going to be sub 5% owned as a stack. I mean, look at this ownership. It's going to be 1%. Last night there were Dodger players that I had in my lines that were 0.5% owned. You're just getting super low ownership against the guy who could occasionally be a little bit all over the place, even though overall he's been awesome this year and does in general have his high upside, or the highest upside as basically any pitcher on any slate. Flaherty, I just don't take pitchers against San Diego for the most part. I also have a belief that Flaherty pitches much, much better against weaker opponents. And although in his defense, he's had a few good starts in the second half of the year against some very, very heavy hitters. But they probably both end up on the outside looking in for me tonight. So to round things out, I'm going to say that Gausman, Gallen, Bradford as my main pitching options that are spend ups. And then I'm deciding for the lower end pitching between Martin, Suarez, Cabrera, and Woods Richardson. And this is all assuming that Sale is out of play because that game's weather. But we're going to have to wait to hear about that weather because it's if it's all good, Sale is clearly the guy who you want to get to if you can. And then we have stack-wise. I don't have it listed in an order yet because I'm trying to figure it out still. But I have Toronto, Minnesota, both sides of the Angels-White Sox game, Colorado and Arizona. And if I was playing 50 lineups tonight and reasonable buy-ins of any kind, I would probably just stick with those 5 and maybe get Texas mini stacks involved in there too. But the way it's looking, I'm probably just going to have time for a couple lineups tonight, just because I've got some places I've got to be tonight. So I'm probably going to be looking at 2 entry or 3, and I think that Toronto, Minnesota, Colorado. Actually, I like all of them, but Toronto, Minnesota, Colorado, and Arizona feel the best to me of all those. I appreciate all you guys. Please give us the like button and all that stuff. I'm going to try to do a football show. I'm not sure if I can't figure out what to do. So do I wait for sheets and we do the football stuff tomorrow? Maybe. Or do I do a solo one and then we do it also tomorrow? I guess I'll try and do that. So probably going to come back with a football show in just a little bit. Good luck to everybody today. Hope you get it. Sorry about the slow throw. There's a lot of stuff going on this morning on a personal level. So glad to balance it out and be able to get this show in. But we'll have more updated and finer tuned thoughts at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Good luck, guys, and we'll see you guys in the Discord and see you at the top of the leaderboards. Reminder, this promo code is ending soon. I just want to remind everybody, this is basically, I think it's the best offer in the industry. We're charging a couple dollars more than SaberSim. You get all the SaberSim content, all Sheets projections, all Goldies projections, all of my content, all of Rody's, all of Brandon Cruz for NASCAR. Look, it's paid off for a lot of people. I hope that you guys will give us a look and join us. Anyway, good luck to you guys. Thanks to Pogen.